Hello everyone and welcome back to the Unemployment Journey, where we'll be travelling across Europe's major leagues and trying to win as many trophies as possible. And I'm showing you the preview of the next season of Bundesliga because, well, we're halfway through the transfer window as it is. There's still about a month left. But with the transfers that we've already done, we are predicted to come sixth. And what it looks like is that there's a cluster of teams here, and we are part of that, the top six, where there's not a lot of difference between what the media thinks will happen. So, like, you've got Bayern Leverkusen, who are 4-1 to win the league, then Dortmund at 5-1, 6-1 for Leipzig, 7-1 for Schalke, and 8-1 for us. Then there's a big gap for seventh all the way down. So, what I'm expecting here is to really start to challenge for that fourth spot this year. You can see Bayern have a new manager in Antonio Conte, Leipzig have a new manager in Manuel Baum, so they're really going to be pushing for it this year. So to get into that conversation with Leverkusen, Bayern Munich, Dortmund, Leipzig, we're going to need to do well. There's a lot of games last year where we drew, where we probably should have won. And that's where I'm hoping not to repeat that. There's plenty of transfers that I've done. Some might be a bit questionable, but let me just show you what it looks like. I'm going to start with the outs. So Grammel, who was a young player, he left on a free. He didn't want to sign a new contract. He's got decent potential, but obviously we're not going to be using him anytime soon, so he can go. Then Hinteregger left for 4 million, Durm for 2.3, Joveljic for 3.8, Salazar for 105 grand, then Idrissi for 3.2 million, Toro for 2 going up to 2.5, then Player for 14.5 going up to 16.5. And the reason for that was he was on a lot of money for being the second choice striker behind Guiri, and he's 29. I thought, wow, he's still got some value to him, get some money in for him, and we did just that. So he's gone to Bristol City for 14.5 going up to 16.5. Core left for 3.5 going up to 4.5, and Ante Rebic, who was really one of the main starters. Well, I say starters. He was a rotational option on the left. He made quite a few starts. He did well, and you can still see from his summary rating it below. It still has a ability about him. The reason I got rid of him was because first he's 28, and he was on 83,000 a week, and for someone to be on that money but not guaranteed starter, I just couldn't risk that. Like, that's a lot of money for a player who's on half of the wages that Zivkovic is on. And I think if you look at Zivkovic, who we already had, well, Zivkovic is now on 70 grand, but he's going to be starting, and that's the main reason that I got rid of Rebic. It's still less money a week that we're paying to Zivkovic. He's slightly younger. I think he's better, and he played better as well. So even if we keep him for a couple of years and potentially sell him, that's fine by me. You know, his value is at 30.5, so potentially in a year or two, if we want to, we can sell him maybe 40, 50 million. So 50 million to Watford. Could have probably got a little bit more, but I just wanted him off the wage books, and we did just that. Then the other person that we've kept is Paulo Bernardo. We kept him, paid out his release fee that we negotiated into his contract. You can see here, 20 years old, wonder kid, dictates tempo. What I'm going to be doing is either changing the formation a little bit or playing him in that number 10 role. We haven't got Kubo. We can't get Rainier, who's too expensive. So we're going to have to use Paulo Bernardo probably as a third central midfielder. But I've been trialling him out in the full number 10 role. He's not the best finisher, but he's fantastically well rounded, and yeah, I think he's a great option. Then the actual players that we've got in, actually we've got Ramon for another year as well. So this is the 4th consecutive year that I've loaned him at whatever club I've been. I really trust him. This year is going to be my first choice left back. Couldn't get Cucurella back, but he will be the first choice left back this year. Thomas Estevez, who looks delighted in his picture there, in for, what was it? It was really cheap. I think it was almost it was a free transfer from Porto B. He's going to be a rotational option in that right back spot. We got a little bit of injury troubles with Torre and Da Costa throughout the season, so he's going to be a nice option. He's not on that much money, but yeah, he's relatively cheap and he's got a good upside to him, and potentially we could sell him for a bit of profit in the future. Jose Silva for 3.2 million, and one thing that I tried to do was bring in homegrown players that were from Germany, that were from Frankfurt. The issue that I've had with that is not a lot of them want to join, and the ones that do only are then snapped up by Bayern Munich or Dortmund, because we're not at that level yet. So what I've decided to do is use the homegrown rules to our advantage. So get players in from 18 to 21, and then in a couple of years they will be classed as homegrown. So Jose Silva is one of those. Very good attacking midfielder already at 18, and you can see there 13 dribbling, 13 first touch, 14 passing, great mentals on him already, and great physicals too. Looks for a pass, and I think he's a really good attacking midfielder. I think there's a lot of potential to him, and he's on 2,700 a week, which is really, really cheap. He's going to be the second or third choice in that attacking midfield slot, and he can also play in at centre midfield as well. So that just provides that little bit of depth in there. Baldassaro joins as well for 5 million base fee, going up to 7.25, and you can see there, this is why I wanted to get rid of Player as it was. I think he's just as good as Player, if not potentially even better. He can play at centre forward and in that attacking midfield spot, and you can see there he's got great passing as well, good long shots, first touch, dribbling, even finishing. He's quick as well, and for this amount of money, we've got a really good young Argentinian forward who could really light the league up, and I think he'll do really, really well here. And yeah, I'm very excited to see how it develops. And lastly, another Argentinian to join, Jorge Ambrosini, on loan from River Plate, and you can see there he's a great base of a left back. He's quick, very determined, good teamwork, work rate, bravery. Could do better in the tackling and marking departments, but you know, his dribbling and crossing is quite high for his age, and I could probably get him towards the end of the season for maybe about 5 million. So if he does well, we'll potentially try and keep him, and then he can grow into that first spot, and then maybe we can loan Ramon back again for a 5th year. But I like the look of him. I think he's going to be a really, really good world-class left back, and again, he's young, 20 years old. He won't be classed as homegrown, but that's the logic that I'm going with. And some of the signings I'm trying to make over the next month in the game is squad depth, to make sure that we have enough for the rest of for the whole year. That's something that we struggle with, especially with injuries, trying to get enough quality. But what we'll do is I'll just show the fixtures quickly, because we are going to be playing a game here today as well, and you can see pre-season went probably as well as you'd like it to. Wins across the board, and we like to see that. We've got Ireland in the cup, and then what I'll do is I'll skip August altogether, so we can just go straight into Stuttgart next episode and I'll run you through all the transfers and everything. But you can see here some goods that we're not playing Leipzig, Dortmund and Bayern in the first 3 games this year. So, it's a bit more spaced out. We've got some difficult fixtures in January there with Leipzig, Dortmund, Leverkusen in there. But we finished the league, actually, it's pretty difficult end of the league, but hopefully it doesn't come to that, and we're pretty much solid in terms of getting that fourth spot. But let me show you the team that we're going with today, and I actually put Siebert into the squad because I don't want to play too many first team players. I know we've got a while before that first game in just over a week, but I wanted to showcase some of the newer players, some of the younger players, and I'll actually put Cavar in as well. And this will be a good opportunity for a lot of these players to show what they're capable of and really try and push for starting opportunities. You can see there Burhan has done fantastically well, and this is the next player that I'm talking about coming through the squad, like Kamyid, homegrown players who are just genuinely fantastic. Like, they came through our academy and they're the players that I want to develop, and that's something that I'm really, really keen on. But this is the team that I'm going with. Renault in goal, Torre, who's coming back to fitness, so he won't be playing the full 90. We'll see Estevez in the second half. Then Vallejo and Siebert in defence in that centre-back partnership with Ambrosini on the left. Kamyid, Cavar and Burhan through the middle with Sabitzer on the right, Kostic on the left and Baldassara up front. The one position I don't really have any depth with is that attacking midfield slot there. Like, I'd really, really want a really good potential winger on both sides, because while we did get rid of the likes of Idrissi, Jovic, there's players in this squad who were on a high amount of wage that I just couldn't justify keeping as backup. So what I want to do is just really get some younger players in, develop them, and then see how they do going forward. And that is essentially the plan, but we'll see how well that goes. Right, we've got a corner here, and Vallejo's header just goes over the top, and that's the end of that highlight there. But I'm expecting a big win here against Ireland, and they're not the best side. Let's be honest here, they're a few divisions below us, so that's why a second string team, and that's the reason why I wanted to play a lot of these players here, is because when we might not be able to see a lot from them going in a lot of the future games. It's only really the cup games against lower teams where I'd probably play some of these more rotational options a bit more consistently, and this is probably a rare chance of seeing players like, say, Burhan and Kamyid playing together, Baldassara up front. So, barring any injuries, we've got to say that some of these players just won't be able to play, but that doesn't stop Baldassara scoring on his debut, and that was a great pass in from Sabitzer, and we'll see that here. Vallejo picks up the ball into Sabitzer, great first touch there, and he's not that forward. Baldassara just knocks that into the bottom corner. Great finish, taken first time there on his debut, and we'll just see if this was offsides. No, he's just onside. Timed that run really, really well. Great finish there as well, and we like to see that debut goal from a really young, high potential player, and a bit more of the same, I guess. 25 minutes in, Kostic to swing in this corner. Siebert's header over the bar. We'll just tell them to get creative, because against a smaller opposition like this, I don't want them to get a little bit complacent. That's where we start to concede goals, and just want them to keep up the concentration, as it's not a great goal kick from them, but Sabitzer into Baldassara even. and Toure into Baldassarre. Toure again on the ball. Kostic's header, and that's saved by the keeper. But yeah, you can see they haven't had a shot all game. We've had 77% of the ball. It's a good bit of possession here. As Sabitzer's header crashes in off the bar. Great ball in by Burhan. And great header from Sabitzer as well to get his first of the season. You'll see this. Great ball in. Sabitzer nods that. Keeper can't keep it out. And that's a great header from the winger. Again, it's not my preference to play Sabitzer in a game like this. Obviously, he's got a goal and an assist. I'll probably take him off at half time. As we go into half time, again, absolute dominant display here. And again, that's the reason why I wanted to play this game here. As we take off Toure because he's not fully fit. I'll take off Sabitzer just because I want him. I don't want him to potentially get a bit tired, a bit injured. But it's one of those performances where I feel like if we had some younger players across the board that really had a lot of potential, then they can play against higher quality opposition. We didn't have a B team as Estevez. His effort goes wide of that near post. We've only just got a B team who are in a very part-time regional league. So some of the younger players might be going to that. But at the same time, being that far down the leagues does have a few challenges with it. Obviously, the first one being they're not going to be playing against high quality opposition. So some of the younger players might still be playing with the under 19 team. So for example, we've got players like Burhan who might be playing a lot of games for the under 19 teams. So Baldassarre is in again, but that's straight at the keeper. But that's the sort of idea of what I'm trying to do, is really try and get a youth system built into Frankfurt to just be almost like a factory of talent, to a point like where Dortmund have been able to do that with some great talent in real life. I want to be able to do the same thing but with Frankfurt. And do you know what, like where we had a couple of years at Venlo, we weren't able to really do the same thing there because they're just not going to be at the level required. Like Frankfurt's facilities are state of the art, 5-star, some of the best in the country, some of the best in the whole of Europe. So we can develop players here. We can bring them through our academy. We can just really become a factory of football, and eventually some of the players, say like Sabitzer, like Kostic, like Zivkovic, might be phased out and we get some younger talent in. Like we've got Siebert playing here, he's playing well, and that means in a year or two we could get rid of Mustafi, who's 29, 30 at the moment, and he can come in almost seamlessly because he knows the system, he knows the tactics, he knows the club, and really start to challenge for a starting position as Cavar's effort drags wide of that post. But you can see here 18 minutes in, they're looking a bit complacent, so I'll demand some more. Looking focused. Can we make another change? I don't really want to bring any of the first team players on, but Cavar now on the ball. Burhan can't get to it. Baldassarre now into Cavar. Burhan into Kamyid, and that's straight at the goalkeeper. But yeah, I mean, winning 2-0 away with a lot of players who are very, very young is encouraging. Obviously, players like Kostic, players like Zivkovic could probably be doing better, but at the same point, this isn't this isn't about them. As Burhan intercepts the ball into Zivkovic. Cavar now. Kostic into Cavar. Finds Ambrosini. Now Kostic. And 3-0. Ambrosini assist on his debut. Great finish by Kostic as well. And we'll see that again. Good pass out from Cavar into Kostic. Takes a touch and into the far post. Keeper obviously should be doing better, but against this level, I mean, we can see the goalkeeper stats here. It's pretty atrocious. So, not surprising there. And hopefully we can get another one before the end of this game. They've not even had a shot this entire game, as that's been cleared out by Block. And 2 minutes of additional time. Zivkovic puts it in, cleared out. And Kamiet's going to get there. Back to Estevez. Now Cavar into Zivkovic. Kostic now. And tipped wide by the goalkeeper. But yeah, I mean, you look at some of these players in the squad. Obviously, some players like Siebert didn't get a lot of minutes last year. He was injured for a fair bit of it. He wasn't necessarily at the level I wanted him to be yet. And I think now he's getting there. He's going to be playing a lot of under-19 football this year because third choice centre-back is Vallejo. And, you know, I think we've got a good base of a squad here. Smaller than what it was last year. But at the same point, I think by taking so much of the wages off, we're able to then reinvest that elsewhere. And, you know, full-time 3-0. No complaints there. Very happy with that. Good win. And that really sets us up to start the league quite well. We've got some decent fixtures in the first couple of games there. So got, I think, essentially, I'd be disappointed if we don't get 3 wins out of that before we play Stuttgart. And I'll bring you the Europa League draw as that next episode as well. But that's going to be it for this episode. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe for future episodes, and make sure you hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss a video. And I'll see you on 10th of September for the game against Stuttgart.